What up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode number 88 today of the My Player Career Mode. And we start today's episode off with a good old-fashioned Manchester derby. So sit back and enjoy what is to come in the first game of today's episode. There's 5 games to watch, 3 with Man United and 2 with England. Things are going well if you've missed the last few episodes of this series for Manchester United. Currently sat unbeaten at the top of the Premier League table, and they are also going into this one a few points away from Chelsea in second, who have already lost 2 games this season. With that game looming as well, next episode, we'll see how the two, battling title challengers are going to get on next episode. But for now, this game is an important one. The Manchester derby at Old Trafford. I have to say, this City team is not as good as you would expect it to be. Of course, in real life, they just beat Arsenal for the second time in 4 days by 3-0. So, being an Arsenal fan, I'm hurting, but it happens, and we'll hopefully bounce back in the correct way. Whereas on the game, their side is pretty weak. That is the one that Manchester United have got, a very strong team, as we've seen it many, many times before. But to be honest, this City team, the only place I really feared is their midfield 3 and possibly their front 2. That was it. The back 4 I thought was weak for what City is. They had Mauro Icardi and Gabriel Jesus up top. Of course, at this point, Jesus is like 90 rated and Icardi's pretty good. And their midfield 3, again, it's decent. But their back 5, I didn't feel like it was that great. So going into game, there was every confidence in me that United were going to create chances. It was going to be, can they keep their midfield and the strike force of City quiet? Great play originally here to get their first chance. It's a fantastic save, actually, from Ederson. But for that save, it would have been United taking the lead in the game. And the first half possession, I don't know if you saw it there, 64% of it going the way of Manchester City. So they were controlling the game, just not doing anything good with the ball when they had it. Moving into the second half, a little bit of, a mistake made by City. Douglas Luiz has been fantastic all afternoon, pretty much dealing with the threat that Ben had, but he napped for literally seconds, and the Englishman took it round him and curled one in past Ederson to give the home side the lead in the 50th minute. Good news as well, Lingard was back in the side. It's always nice to see another Englishman in the side here as well, so not too bad seeing him back in it. But as I said, Douglas Costa, or whatever his name is, Douglas Luiz, I don't actually know. Anyways, he did pretty well in the first half, negating the threat that Ben carried. He was pretty much chose to man mark him, and but for that little lapse in concentration there, it would have been a good afternoon for him. But he allowed his man to get away and pull off the strike, and you just can't do that when you've got Ben in your side. And that's the reason why United took the lead in the game, and there's 10 minutes left in the game as well. City, as I said, they were a little bit weak on the day. A good pass, from Ben into one of his teammates. I think it was Jota on the right-hand side. He tried to strike it. Eventually, a little 1-2, Paul Pogba and Ben trying to work some space. Great little piece of skill there past Gundogan. Gets it back again, though, because he just couldn't shake him. But in the end, does find that little bit of space that he needs. And once again, it's another strike from the edge of the area. This time, he didn't go for the curler, didn't go for the placement, just hit it into the top corner with a lot of venom on the strike. Ederson was never going to get near it, and that is the reason why City are 2-0 down at Old Trafford. Given the circumstances, this wasn't really an unrealistic result. City at this point were down in 11th place. They only had 3 wins from their first, I think it was 11 games. They've had like 5 defeats so far or something like that. So it's not been a good start for Pep Guardiola or this City team. And I did say at the start of the game that their defence looked quite weak, and that might be the reason why they are struggling this season. But nevertheless, for United, their winning run continues. That now is 7 games unbeaten for the home side this season so far. Oh, sorry, no, 7 games, I think 1 in a row, because they've been unbeaten in like 11. Actually, yeah, 7 games in a row that they've managed to actually win. So I got that wrong. 7 victories in a row. Not just unbeaten, actual victories. So max points picked up out of their last 7 games in the league thus far. Very good to see. On the other hand, for City, worrying times over at the Etihad and Pep Guardiola. I have to say that, because to watch them not really create anything at Old Trafford, I thought that they had a good attack and their midfield was quite decent. But when you play a 5 at the back, you're always negating that attacking threat that you might have. And John Stones here in the England lineup, we're going to be able to see them getting into some games here. Wembley Stadium, Austria, the opponents. Remember how the group currently looks? Well, that's what it is at the moment. 3 teams on 7 points, and then below them, a couple of teams on 4 points, and then the last team on 3. So it's a very close group this time around, of course. It didn't help when England lost to Sweden on the opening game, and then drew straight afterwards with Finland. So that always doesn't help your case. But at the moment, England are back where they should be at the top side of the group, and victory against Austria will just cement their place in that position. They've still got to take on Sweden as well, which will come in the next game to come. But for now, their main focus is in this game here. Very good side from England. I still can't understand why they don't play very well at international competitions. Because if you look at the team, I wouldn't necessarily say that there's a weak point in the side. But again, 10 minutes in, Ben at the heart of pretty much everything. Nice kind of curling effort there. He actually had David Alaba to worry about as well in this game, which is interesting because, of course, he's just joined Manchester United. So a little bit of pressure on Alaba, if you could say so. But England, they were doing pretty well. Fantastic tackle there from Sterling, winning the ball back. And 16 minutes in, Harry Kane using his advantage and his hold-up play pretty well. Ben finds Sterling on the overlap. Sterling, great pass back inside. There he is, arriving on it quite late. And the left foot is exquisite of Ben. And it makes the score 1-0 to the home side here. 18 minutes on the clock and England had taken the lead here. So I've got to say, since we lost to Sweden and since we had that kind of blip against Finland, I don't think England have done too badly. They've had a few professional performances, not allowing teams to create much against them, getting the clean sheets where required. So I'm feeling like even with those disappointing, results to start off with, they can still get out of the group and they could still be pretty good in an international competition. Whether or not that's just me, again, being the fact of believing in England, and I'm going to be, shown up for that, because how many times do I say we're going to do well in international competition and then we just do nothing? We'll have to see. But Austria very nearly got an equaliser. Very good volley there to stop that one. If it had been 1-1, I'd have happily held my hands up and said, there you go, fantastic strike to get you back in the game. But luckily, England killed the game off with 12 minutes to go. Marcus Rashford with the header from a Ben cross, and England at this point looked like they were heading for the 3 points. 2-0 up. Clean sheet only just here, and if they can get it, that would be the best way possible to come out of this game. But I have to say, the header from Rashford was very, very good indeed. And interestingly enough as well, he has actually left Real Madrid since Ben has left Real, because of course, remember, they were teammates over in Spain. He is now playing his trade at AC Milan, is Marcus Rashford, which I'm surprised to say, because in many ways, when Ben left that Real Madrid side, Rashford could have become the main man over at the Santiago Bernabeu. So kind of interesting to see the fact that he has left and joined Milan instead. Maybe something happened over in Spain, and that's the reason why he's chosen to go over to Italy and play in Milan. But yeah, I was intrigued when I saw him actually move clubs over to AC Milan. However, that is the way this game ended. Austria couldn't do enough to stop this England threat, and it was England coming away with the 3 points. So 10 points in the group now for them. It's looking okay comparing it to how it started. Sweden with a 2-2 draw against the Welsh. Very happy with that one. I want to see Wales get out of the group. I've said it before. Being a neighbouring nation, it would be nice for them to get themselves into the next round of this one. Very much like it would be for the English to get through as well. Sweden, though, the team that beat this England lineup way back in game 1, are they going to do it again in this game here? Or can England get their revenge? Remember, this is important because Sweden are doing pretty well in the group stage as well. So for them, they want to keep their good form up. Whereas England want to, I guess, redeem themselves for that game number 1 defeat. And, it's not like England haven't lost to Sweden in the past. Ibrahimovic scored that crazy goal against us when they did defeat us before. So they are a good side. But when you look at the England team and the ambitions that we've got for this England side, you would be saying that they need to get out of this group as group winners. Anything less would be disappointing. So they've got pressure and they need to be able to play with the pressure. Especially when you look at the team as well. Harry Kane, he's like 90 rate at this point. He could be playing in Real Madrid, he could be playing at Barca, scoring goals for fun, and yet he plays for England and he just doesn't seem to score at all. But anyways, enough about that. That's the side. Ward-Prowse and Barkley holding it down in the centre midfield. Ben just in front. I always get a little bit worried when I see a Cam playing centre midfield. But anyways, we'll see how it's going to fare out. But Sweden, they couldn't stop Ben, and creating the chances is what he does for a living. And Rashford, what he does for a living is finishing them off. So we've seen it so many times at Real Madrid. These two linking up, and it just so happens that they were going to link up for goal number 1 of this game here inside 6 minutes. I'm kind of... I don't know why Harry Kane didn't try and get on the end of this one. The actual cutback, I think, from Ben was actually intended for Harry Kane. It looked like way anyways. So when I saw it go straight past him and into the path of Rashford, I was slightly kind of surprised, and I was questioning what on earth was going on. Why did Harry Kane not attempt to go on that? He's lacking goals for this England side, and you would think that he'd be I guess, jumping at every chance that he got to try and score a goal. So slightly worried about that. But anyways, doesn't matter because Rashford finished it off. Sweden creating a chance for themselves inside 12 minutes. And straight from that one, England catching them on the break. They still had, though, so many players back defending their line here, Sweden. I mean, look at this. It's literally 3 on about 7 here for England. Ben turns his man, gets inside, tries to find the bottom corner, comes back off the woodwork. It eventually falls back to Marcus Rashford, who gets his second of the afternoon. And it was England 2-0 up inside 15 minutes. That came from a Sweden attack themselves. But the one thing that I was just saying a minute ago, how on earth did they already have 7 or 8 players back against the 3 of England when they were the ones attacking during that play? I genuinely sat there and I thought, what on earth is going on? How have they got so many players defending this? Somehow, though, England did manage to break it down and score anyways. It's a bit disappointing that Ben didn't get the goal, but I'm sure he won't be worried about that one. It's 2-0 to England. 3 minutes left of normal time now. Sweden never threatening in this second half, and it just so happened that substitute Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain would get on the score sheet with a headed goal. Ben with the assist. That's 2 for him now on the day in terms of assists, and it's England 3-0 up in the game and heading for 3 points. It's a stark contrast to how the first game went. Sweden winning 1-0. This time around, England battering them by 3-0. But of course, Sweden, they are a good team. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see them in the knockout rounds of the European Championships to come. So I'm sure this won't be the last time we've heard from them. I'm sure this won't be the last time we play against them. And there'll be every chance for them to get revenge later on. So what is that now? Like 1-1 in the group stage. So we've lost a game, we've won them in a game, so it happens. But anyways, that is how the game ended. 3 points on the board. Top spot now for England secured. They are holding it down on their own, which is always nice as well. But ultimately, it was just a professional performance. We spoke about it. We said they need to be professional in their wins, and that's what they did there. Disappointingly, Wales lost 4-1 to Denmark. So in terms of that one, they're not putting themselves in a great position to qualify out of the group, which is disappointing, but we just have to focus on ourselves. And then once we're secure, we can worry about any other teams maybe down the line. But next game back in the Premier League, it's Burnley going to Old Trafford. These are the types of games, I always say it, these types of games are the ones that you might struggle in. So Burnley here coming to Old Trafford. United winning their last 7 games out of 7, 21 points picked up. It's kind of weird because they're sat 11 games in, 10 wins and 1 draw, only conceding 2 goals. This looks like the same kind of season that Ben had in his first season at Real Madrid. If you remember how dominant they were in Ben's first year in Spain, they barely conceded. They, dominated games. They were scoring for fun. They were winning games as well. Then you look at the fact that Varane was part of that side in season 1 that Ben was in. Then you look at the fact that Varane is part of the Manchester United team for this second season here in England. That might be the reason why United have only conceded 2 goals so far this season. He did it at Real Madrid, and he seems to be doing it at Manchester United currently. But 18 minutes into this one at Old Trafford, we've seen Ben likes to cut it onto his left foot and try and find that corner. This time around, where he succeeded against City, he couldn't do it against Burnley. He was inches away from opening up the scoring here. Look how close that one was to finding the corner of the goal. You can say Heaton might have had it covered, but I'm not so sure he did there. So very close to being 1-0 to the home side. And as we continued on to the second half now, straight as the second half got back underway, I think Mourinho kind of took his side in at half-time and probably said they need to be quicker about the way they're knocking the ball about, because it was kind of slow in the first half. They really struggled. Ben turns his man, gets past a couple of players. You literally can't let him have that time. We spoke about it against City. They allowed him to do that in 2 chances. He scored both. Burnley just didn't wake up from the second half beginning. They allowed Ben to get straight into the area where you don't want him to be, and he unleashes a left-footed strike, which finds the back of the net there. So 1-0 to United. Heaton trying to rally his troops at that point, but I think they realised that now they're in a game, because what do? Do they go back out for this second half, try and score against the United team that have conceded 2 goals all season long so far in the first 11 games? Or do they shut up shop and try and stop United scoring any more and go for damage limitation? Because at this point, what do you do? If you're a manager and you're against a defence as strong as this, do you try and take that risk and potentially lose this game by 2, 3, even 4-0 now? So it's his 9th goal of the Premier League campaign here for Ben. Only 12 games into it. But of course he missed one, so he's actually only played 11 so far. So got a goal kind of scoring rate of a striker. Credit to Burnley though, 10 minutes from time, they very nearly got their only chance in the back of the net. The post denying them what would have been a point here from Old Trafford and would have stopped United's winning streak. Luckily for them, it didn't, because they are now still unbeaten and still winning the games in a row. But that just showed you that when you win titles, right, you get this little bit of luck that you need. That one classed as a little bit of luck, because Burnley were ever so close to finding what would have been the goal that would have got them a point, basically. So for them, they left the field of play disappointed. I mean, if they hadn't have had that chance, it would have been a different story. I'm pretty sure they'd be happy with the fact they only came to Old Trafford and conceded one. But they know how important that goal would have been, how close it was to them getting a single point from the game. And now moving into the last game here, back into the Champions League. As it stands, it's pretty much Dortmund and Manchester United out of the group. I don't think they can be caught here. So it's deciding who goes out as group winners. So every game, even though United are out of the group already, is still important to them. This one against Lyon at the Stadion is going to be tough. Now, I saw an interesting tweet, actually. I was on Twitter the other day, and I was looking at, I follow some kind of football kind of Twitter accounts, and I was looking at one that was showing you, like, the best team that certain teams had if they'd have kept hold of their players. Lyon's side would have been unreal if they kept their players. The only issue with it would be defensively, but going forward, man, their side would have been so good. Like, the types of players they could have had was Lacazette. They had Benzema at one stage. They had Martial at one stage. They had, so many good players. Miran Pjanic at one stage as well, who's currently playing his trade at Juve. So they had some quality players, and I wonder if they'd have kept them, how they would have been going on currently. But anyways, enough about that, because inside 12 minutes in France, United had the lead. Ben, turning his defender, gets inside. Simple task at this stage to find the back of the net. We know what he's playing with at the moment. He's got so much confidence going forward, and that is the reason why he is doing ever so well as it stands. So United already taking the lead in this game, trying to get themselves out as group winners, and that's what we want to see from them. Rojo happy with that one, even though he's not on the field to play for this, so still celebrating, even though the fact he's not on the field. And as we went into the second half again, United just looking to close out the game at this stage. Ben turns his man, gets it to Zielinski. Zielinski gives him it back, a little bit of luck involved there. I thought for a second he'd find the bottom corner, but that just shows he's only human, because he's through one-on-one with the keeper. You'd be expecting the goal to just gate there, and somehow he doesn't even hit the target. He puts it wide of the bottom corner. So that just shows you, as I said, that he's only human. He does make mistakes like everybody else, even though we maybe think he's just Superman. But carrying on, 12 minutes from time, Lyon here had a corner kick. Man United had a corner kick, which Lyon, defensively, they looked so shaky in the afternoon, and that happened. I saw this one. Rafael, I think it is. Or it might not even be Rafael. I don't actually know who it is. No, it's not. It's Vallejo. Vallejo, that's it. Vallejo is the man who brings him down. It's Alaba brought down in the box, but then you take a look at the replay, and I don't think this is a penalty. Yes, he doesn't win the ball, but he has a genuine attempt at winning the ball with a diving header, and you can say that, I mean, having said that, I've just looked at it now, and it does kind of seem like, I don't know. It's 50-50. What do you guys think? Is it a penalty? Is it not a penalty? Do you think it's a bit of a harsh penalty to give away? It doesn't matter, though, because Lukaku didn't score the spot kick. He struck it against the top of the crossbar. On the penalty decision, I would have given it, but then again, I think Vallejo has every right to try and win that ball, and the fact of the matter is, Alaba kind of wasn't even facing goal. He's still looking back, and maybe he's not going anywhere with it, so that might be the other reason. Anyways, enough about that. United did take a second one, though. Pogba on the score sheet, something that I was saying he needs to do more of in the series. He managed to get a header goal from Ben's cross in the last couple of minutes of the game. So United 2-0 up at this point. Clean sheet as well. Heading out of the group, and it looks like as group winners. I'm not sure who the final games that they've got to play against is. It might be Dortmund, or it could be Moscow. I think it's actually Dortmund. So heading into the last game, depending on the Dortmund result in their other game, it now means that one of these sides will be heading out as group winners, one of them will be heading out as group second place, and they, between them, can decide it, because they're playing against each other. So it's going to be interesting, that game. I'm looking forward to it, because Dortmund as well, they matched us pound for pound in the last game, and I felt like it was quite a good game to be able to watch. So we'll see anyways. But that's how this game ended, guys. 3 points for United, and that is how the episode will end today. If you want to check out the league table, that's still going to pop up for you on the screen, and you'll be able to see it in more detail in a moment. Check out the fact that United have gone something crazy, like 8 or 9 games in a row with victories. Dortmund winning 4-0 against Moscow does mean that it will go to that final game of this, I guess, campaign, or group stage, sorry. and we'll see how it's going to fare and who's going to go out as group winners. But that's it from me for today. I will see you all again, hopefully at 4 p.m. UK time tomorrow for yet another video. Make sure you've subscribed. If not, make sure you hit the notification bell as well so you never miss an upload. United just dominating at this point. It looks like there's not going to be much to stop them. As I said, Chelsea the next opponents. It's the top of the table clash between the two of them. We'll see how that pans out next episode. But for now, I'll catch you all again very, very soon. See you all later. Adios.